It's metal for the masses. It's the only place that plays it harder, faster, and louder than anybody else here on live365.com. I'm your host, JC, and the place to be. I am joined by Mr. Steve Scott of the band The Word 66, and he's here to talk with us about this new track that they got coming out May 2nd. But handing it over to you, Mr. Scott.
Thanks, John, for having me again, buddy. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. The pleasure's all mine. It's always good having you here on the show. The Word 66, uh, you guys are a little bit of a conundrum, being a Christian metal band located in Sin City, pretty much. Uh,
In
how do
city,
you guys,
Vegas is the Christian capital of the world.
is it really? Oh,
No.
yeah, I was about to say, I was like, I must have missed something here. Uh, But how do you guys deal with it? How do you guys make do?
We don't pay attention to it. Vegas is trying to have a different kind of reputation now. Like the Chamber of Commerce is trying to make it more like the wedding capital of the world, rather to try to get away from the whole Sin City thing. And
Gotcha.
they're doing pretty well with it as well.
Yeah, I heard you can get married at Taco Bell's there now. It's it's kind of wild.
Yeah, and they give you a free taco as well.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
What better deal? Uh so you
And
guys have
Elvis, you can
uh,
get Elvis to give you the taco too.
hell yeah. That's you know what, man? Sign me up. So you guys got this new single coming out on May 2nd, 37 Miracles.
Yes.
Uh let's get into it. Let's talk about it.
Okay, actually, it's going to be a new CD. It's 5 songs. The first track that's dropping on the second is called 37 Miracles, which is the title track.
Hell yeah.
A lot of people don't know this, but Jesus actually in his lifetime performed a total of 37 miracles. And that's where the song came from. There's actually in the lyrics, I counted, there's like 15 references that we make about the 37 miracles that he performed.
Gotcha. Um, so I'm not the most uh biblically literate person. Obviously I was raised Methodist. I know some Old Testament, some New Testament. Um, but going through and actually reading through the entire book is definitely on my list. I just finished the Tolkien's The Silmarillion, which feels about as long as reading the Bible. But the Bible is on my list, probably either end of summer or going into next year. But what
Awesome.
were for people like me or other people who may be curious, what were what was the significance of the 37 miracles that Jesus pretty much did, you know?
I was actually, it was inspired by a sermon at church from my pastor. And a lot of times he'll say things that I think are really cool, because I also, I am, a Christian. And of course, um, my purpose in life is to write music to worship God and for Jesus as well. So I have to admit I am not exactly a Bible scholar either. I can't, I don't walk around quoting the Bible, and I'm not one of those people that's good at remembering quotes and things like that too. So and also, I let the music do the speaking, the talking for me, really. I mean, I don't really walk around like, again, quoting the Bible and trying to save souls and things like that. Again, I let the music do the talking for me. But there was a sermon one time where the pastor mentioned that Jesus performed 37 miracles. And I thought that was really cool. It's kind of like
Yeah,
I pulled out my phone and I was like, all right, 37 miracles. I gotta write a song about that someday. And it took me a couple
right.
years to get to it. But one day I was just writing a track and I was like, it just came out. I was like, 37 miracles. This is really cool. And then I just started to to list some of the miracles that he performed. And I just thought it'd be a really cool song because I really like the premise of the whole song as well.
Right. Yeah, I mean, to perform 37, I mean, it sucks that it's not an even 40, but the 37 definitely there is a very pleasant ring to it. I mean,
Sure. Yeah.
I would imagine, the walking on water, the water into wine, the pretty much when he was preaching on the hill and all the bread, like we only had like two loaves of bread and it's just boom, here's all this bread for everybody that's
Right
here,
in the
so now
fish.
everybody
Yeah.
can eat. Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like, obviously I also am not a big scholar. I don't know all 37 of the miracles, but it does have a very nice ring to it. The writing process behind this track, and I guess I was mistaken. I thought that this was just one track that was coming out. You guys have you said it's like a whole CD. That's even better, man. How was the writing process overall with this I guess uh would you call it an album? Would you call it
Yeah. You can call it an album, you call it a CD. I mean,
yeah.
album's kind of old school, but it's cool, you know.
I never know how to keep up with the terminologies these days because singles to me uh is like a single, a one track, but then like some people have like three tracks on a single now these days, or some people like I don't even know if people even do EPs anymore, but I still just call stuff albums or singles, and it's just like okay. But yeah, so this CD that you guys are releasing, 5 tracks, man. So you guys have been super busy, busier than I thought. What went into it, you know? I mean, I saw in the email chain you guys got a a bunch of people back on this. You said you got new vocalist and everything
Correct. Yeah.
going into this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's tell me about it, man. What happened? What's with all the change?
It's time to go back in and record a new record. As you know, you're only as good as your last record too. So it's like people will forget about you, and you don't get played as much anymore. So as the song goes along, so they're always adding new singles. So it was time to go in the studio, record some new tracks. It was difficult to figure out which ones to record because we got a ton of singles and a lot of things that we really want to record. But it's not free to go into the studio and record. So it's like, you're looking at your budget and you're like, okay, well, how many songs can we record? We'd like to have done a full album or CD, with like, 10, 12, 15 songs. But of course, the budget wasn't there. So narrowed it down to 5. The song 37 Miracles was actually kind of difficult to write for me. I do all the writing. I do the writing, the music and the lyrics. And it was kind of difficult, man, because I came up with the riff and I thought it was really cool. And I was like, okay, I got to work with this. And then had writer's block. I just couldn't figure it out, man. And coming up with the chorus was really difficult as well because I kept trying different things. And after a while, you kind of get a little bit stagnated, and you go like, "Okay, man, I need to move on. Let's try something else, or move on to some other kind of thing, and get back to it later on." And get back to it later on, I couldn't figure it out again, and it was kind of like it took a while. And then when I finally figured it out, then I had to do the guitar solo, and then I couldn't figure out the guitar solo either. So this was a really difficult song to write. So it was really a labor of love for sure.
Right, absolutely. Um, yeah, I get like that too, man. Like just stuff with Metal for the Masses, stuff with I'm a bass player outside of as just kind of like a hobby. Um so like I've even like, tried to start writing my own jams as well. And it's you get something going and then you just get as far as you can go and then it's just like I have 3 tracks written down right now. I know what the titles are. I know kind of like what the overall theme I want everything to be, but it's that writer's block. How do you get started? How do you come up with the riff? How do you keep going? All right, what's this sound going to be like? All right, cool. What's going to happen now? What are the other guys in the band going to sound like? What do I want what do I want them to sound like? Like, I get it, man. It's a bitch when it happens like that, man. But yeah, I'm glad that you guys eventually figured it out. I saw you guys also have Danny Miranda back on the tracks as well, man.
Correct. Yeah, Danny's been a great influence, and of course he's an amazing bassist. I mean, he's like the guy out there now. So when you're looking for a bassist for a band, especially all the classic rock bands and all that kind of stuff too, he's like the main guy out there now. He's very well in demand for all this kind of stuff, and he really digs our music, man. So when we send him the tracks, he loves it, and he puts in some great bass lines, man. And we're very happy and blessed to have him.
Right, because like I was seeing, I doing a little bit of research on him. He's is he still over in New York? Uh,
Yes.
yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, so you guys are just pretty much mailing it over to him. So is he? I guess he's freelancing right now on top of everything else.
He keeps himself really busy. Yeah. And of course he's
Gotcha.
always doing his thing with Blue Oyster Cult as well.
Yeah. Um, so that it's really a tricky question. How did you guys get in contact with Danny Miranda? I mean, like I know you guys have been in touch with him before, but I mean, maybe just a refresher. How did this come to be here? Like, did you guys know somebody that knew him? Were you guys like childhood friends with Danny Miranda? Like, how'd this happen, man?
No, definitely not childhood friends, but we come from the same area. We're both from Long Island, New York. So we kind of know each other a bit, and we also have recorded in some of the same studios. And I hadn't talked with him in a really long time. And it just so happens that my producer is a really good friend of his as well. So he's kind of our go between also. And then so he sends the music to Danny, and Danny says, I love it. Let's do it. And he just knocks it right out. We have one track on the new CD. It's called "I'll Be There." It's actually a power ballad, really cool song, and I really wanted a fretless bass in there because I really wanted that sound. I really wanted that kind of sound, and
Yep.
um, so Danny was gracious to put the fretless bass on there for us, and it just sounds fantastic, man. You can always count on him to come up with A plus plus work.
I can't wait to hear it, man. I really can't. So the whole CD is coming out on May 2nd, or is it just 37 Miracles that's May 2nd
Just the song for now.
for
So
now? Okay.
we have new management. You might have seen also as well. So we have PCM management, which is Paul Crosby, who used to be for like 20 years was the drummer for Saliva.
Yep.
And so he started a management company a ways back. We managed to get in contact with him. He loved our stuff, so he's now managing the band. So he thinks we should start with the single and then maybe another single, and then eventually we'll release the actual album itself.
Hell yeah. So I mean like this year everything should hopefully be out. But dude, I'm you guys have really been blessed since the last time I talked to you, man. You guys shit's coming together for you. Danny Miranda back on the music scene here for you guys. Uh and new management, drummer from Saliva. That's, all of this huge, huge news, man. Congrats, honest to
Enough, man. I
God.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. I got to give credit where credit's due. I got to listen to the little sneak peek that you sent us, and I compared to the the other the word 66 stuff that I've listened to, like I hear the change, man. I hear the I'm trying to think on how to word this, I hear the improvements,
Okay.
I hear where you're at on your journey here, man. Like it's not, the same thing, so it's good, it's really cool. I can't wait to get it here on Metal for the Masses, and let more people kind of also hear this journey as well, which this interview will be airing uh Saturday, which will be the 3rd. So
Very cool.
by that time, it will be up here in
Officially out.
rotation. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be officially out and it'll be in my rotation. So that will be good news.
Thanks for
But
the kind words, John.
absolutely, man. I'm never gonna not give somebody props ever. And I'm never gonna give somebody props who I feel doesn't deserve it. I'm here to support the underground scene, man. I really am. But I try to be honest, and sometimes I can be brutally honest. Uh,
Which is one of my flaws as well.
yeah, I'm a little too blunt at times, but like
Me too.
it's because I want, bands like yourself to succeed. And I'm very much tired of listening to the same bands that, not that I don't like these bands, but like I'm tired of hearing Green Day, Hailstorm. Like I love Volbeat. I've been listening to Volbeat since, over a decade. I'm tired of hearing them on my local radio station. It's like I know that there's something else because I do this on the side. Like I know there's other artists such as yourselves and many others that maybe I'm not hearing on my local radio station because they're owned by corporate entities and they need to appease their bottom line and their investors at the end of the day. So I that's why uh I'm hostile towards the corporate machine when it comes to the music scene. But like, I'm
Yeah,
just one guy. I always say
I get it.
I'm just some prick on the internet.
I get it, man. And you're talking about the corporate machine. So it's like there are a few really big, what they call contemporary Christian stations out here. I do listen to some contemporary Christian, but obviously, I call it watered down rock, is what it is, because you really don't hear any guitars. You'll never hear a guitar solo. It's really keyboard based and it's really kind of mellow. But of course, there's some great, great music there as well. And of
Right.
course, we listen a lot myself for the message and all. But there's like this really big station here in Vegas, and I did contact them, and a couple of our songs are on the more mellower side. Like we did that ballad called How Will I Know, which is a really beautiful ballad. It's just acoustic guitar, it's cello and vocals. And
Right.
Brian, the past vocalist, he did an amazing job on that. So there's really no reason that we couldn't get it on a station like that. And then we have another song that's kind of what I just call like good worship rock. Just to show my love, it's called. And it's kind of a mellow rock tune. And then we sent it to them as well. And you would think that I don't think they've ever had a local band that they can promote in all the years that they've been in business. So here it is. You got a quality band. We're a hometown. You'd figured maybe they'd be happy to play us and get behind us, but that's not the case.
Right.
Like you said, the whole corporate machine and everything, and it's just I don't know if there's payola involved and all that kind of stuff, but
So I went to college for radio, television, and film. I actually have my degree hanging on my wall. It's in a Bachelor of Arts. Uh,
nice.
and when I took Radio One, because mainly I went for radio, hence why we're, doing this right now. I'm not getting paid for this. I just love what I do. I love talking to artists. I love trying to promote their music and get them seen and heard. Um, Sit down for first day of Radio One, and professor comes in. It's a guy I'm friendly with. He was my assistant, station manager at the college. Uh, Guy's name's Leo Kirshner. Great guy. Sits down, asks the class, "What's the purpose of radio?" And some people are like, news, weather, information, and he's like, you're all wrong. The purpose of radio is to make money. And that was it's very defeating to me
Eye
uh
opener.
to hear that.
Yes.
Where it's like, look, I understand where the purpose of anything in a day-to-day, modern society these days is, you know, to make money. But if we're talking about, music, like this is that we're in the realm of art here. And I'm not saying that an artist doesn't deserve to get paid. But what I'm saying is I had another interview with another uh group of religious guys. They're a band called Symphony of Heaven. You should check them out.
Okay.
Um, and we had this discussion. Uh, to take art, which is emotion, and to hollow it out to profit, you take away everything that it's supposed to be. And that's also where we find this conundrum. This is all my opinion. This is where we find the conundrum of a lot of these. We're hearing a lot of the same artists that we've been hearing for over 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades. Like, who doesn't love Black Sabbath, man? But like, holy cow, is Paranoid probably one of the most overplayed fucking tracks I've ever heard. You know, who doesn't
Absolutely.
who doesn't love Led Zeppelin? Guys, I think we can kind of pump the brakes a little bit. Guys, AC/DC is a phenomenal band. Guys, we can pump the brakes a little bit here. Even going into metal, man. Like, look, Metallica, Megadeth, Ozzy Osbourne, all of these, icons, these powerhouses of 60s, 70s, 80s, going up into the 90s and the modern era, 2000s and onward. These guys to me have all had their times. They'll come out with new music and we can praise them for it and we can play their new music. That's fine. But there needs to be a change, and this idea that it's got to be about making money. It's fine. You gotta make money to survive. I get it. But that doesn't mean that we need to completely shut the door, and all of these bands out here like yourselves and everything else doesn't mean that we got to shut the door on these guys, because if we do that, if we pull the ladder up and that's it and there's no more, we're the last we're the last ones, and then the deluge comes. uh there It's not looking good, you know.
I get played by a ton, excuse me, of indie stations. And when I'm listening to those stations, the songs before me, the songs after me, there is so much talent out there.
Right.
There are so many amazing indie bands, excuse me, that no one will ever hear because they don't get played anywhere but maybe like, like a station like yours, for instance. It's like you get played here, you'll get played there kind of thing, but it's not like you said, like these old other bands. I mean, they're played constantly a
Right.
million times a day, and maybe you'll get a spin here, a spin there, but who's actually going to ever remember that song or remember you? Excuse me. And it blows my mind because, and I have this conversation with a lot of the indie stations and stuff that we talk about. It's amazing the amount of talent that's actually out there.
Right. Like, I remember having a conversation. You guys sent me a track. Uh, I want to say this was about a year ago, maybe, a little longer. The last time we chatted, uh, I took a listen to the track and I had told you that it's like, dude, like it's 80s all the way. Like, I'm getting like Cinderella vibes and stuff like that. I mean, like, I don't see why you guys couldn't get spun on like Ozzy's Boneyard. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see why. You guys obviously fit the sound that that station goes for. It's like it's not difficult to take a look and be like, hey, this is a new artist that we found in the underground, and they fit what we're trying to play here. They fit what our audience likes. You don't have to play every single new band that you find. Like, you want to play stuff that fits what you're trying to play.
Right.
there's new bands out there, like you're saying, that are getting played on these indie stations. You can pick and choose what you're looking for, man, and you can give them a shot. You can throw them on your station and they fit the narrative. You know what I mean? It's just even that doesn't happen, you know? It really it's very disheartening. But
It is.
I it the only thing, circling it back around here, the only thing that we can do is have faith that it will get better, that maybe one day somebody will act first and then a domino chain will happen where everything else kind of follows, and then nobody has any use for people, for us indie stations that are like, hey, look, like here's this band that's not getting played because now the mainstream's finally doing it. But until then, I get on my soapbox every once in a while and scream into the void.
And it's really, you mentioned about Sirius Radio. It's like impossible to get on Sirius Radio. They actually have people that you have to hire. You have to pay them a lot of money to try to get your tracks on Sirius Radio, and there's no guarantee that it'll even happen. So
Right.
um, it's pretty ridiculous. And of course, if you're talking about like major labels, forget about that, man. I mean, you've got to have like an incredible following. I mean, you've got to have like, millions of followers on Facebook and millions of followers on Twitter and Instagram. And you've got to have sold, 20,000 CDs and, just all kinds of stuff, man. So it's really impossible. So, like you said, something's got
So
to change,
it's
man.
it does got to change because like I'll even say this, and you know what? If somebody thinks I'm wrong, they can tell me I'm wrong. I'll always say I'm just some prick on the internet. My opinion literally means nothing.
What they
Uh,
say about opinions, right?
right. Uh, it's so bad. I was talking about like Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, Black Sabbath. It's so bad now. I don't if this is how it was, like say we were so technologically advanced back in the 60s that it was like this today, that the music scene was, if you take the music scene now and replace it with the music scene from the 60s, you'd never know who Black Sabbath was. You'd never know who Led Zeppelin was. You'd never know who ACD. You'd never know who these bands are because of, like, as you're saying, you got to pay people and then you still don't have a guarantee. You have to be famous before we even make you famous. Like and it's like, look, like that's, it's not fine, but if you look at it this way and you kind of see how hard it is for artists now to, like, just get a foot in the fucking door.
Mm.
It's like you apply that to all the bands that we already know of, you'd never know who they were. You'd never know who any of these artists were, and we'd I don't know, we'd probably all still be listening to like 1920s music, because none of rock and roll would have never taken off. We might have still been listening to jazz. I have no idea. But rock and roll would have never taken off. Rock and roll would have never progressed into heavy metal, and metal would have never progressed into grunge, punk, any of it. You'd have none of this music if you took what the music scene is now and applied it to the time period of all of the bands that we already know about. You Something needs to be done, something needs to change. Like, I don't know, how religious everybody is, but it's like pray to whoever's listening out there, man. Like, whoever's gonna answer this prayer, dude, something's gotta fucking change, man. You know?
Yeah, not only that too, but us indie artists, it's a little different for me because I am God-based. So
Right.
I'm doing this to spread the word. I believe this is my purpose in life. And I'd like to mention, if you don't really know our band and stuff, we have a positive message, but we still rock like everybody else does. So
Right.
if you don't really pay attention to the lyrics and stuff like that, it's just a good rock song. So you'll just be getting into the tune itself. But on the other side, everybody wants to be a rock star, right? So everybody who's in a band, they want to make it, they want to be out there, they want to be big. And there's a lot of these small indie labels that are taking advantage of this as well because they know the frame of mind that they're at, they know where they want to go, and they're offering something that they really can't offer them. Like we literally have like 9 label offers on the table right now. And when you really look at all the labels, I mean, there's really nothing going on there. And some of them have proven to be fake labels as well.
Right.
So they're gonna basically, if they are interested in you, supposedly, you'll have a talk with like the owner or whatever, and they'll tell you everything that you want to hear. And you'll go,
Exactly.
oh, okay, you have to pay them because it's not like it used to be. Back in the day, you used to get all kinds of like development deals and things like that. And you didn't have to pay for anything. Nothing came out of your pocket. And you went and you recorded your record, you went on tour, all that kind of stuff. Of course, you had to pay that back, eventually, but there was nothing in the beginning that would come out of your pocket. Now, because it's not like that anymore, and there's no CD sales anymore, because that's where you made a lot of your money. If you had like a gold record, a platinum record, there's a ton of money involved there. But now, of course, you got the downloads, and you make literally a penny or two for like every time somebody downloads your
So,
music. So there's no
yeah.
money anymore. So all these labels are trying to figure out how to get money from people too. So they're charging bands to be on their label.
Yep.
So it's
No
not
matter no matter what, it just seems like it's damned if we do, damned if we don't, all the way around in the music world right now. And that's really the end of look like the I know what you guys are, you guys are out here, spread the word, rock and roll. End of the day, that's your guys' mission. I understand that. I appreciate that. I respect it. I love it.
thanks, man.
Um, for like, I think like, majority of the younger guys in the scene are all like get famous. That's the we want to do that. I think as a lot of these guys mature, it starts circling back to, you know, guys, I'm just here to do what I love to do. You know what I mean? Like I'm 31. I've had this mindset for like a long time. It's like, guys, I'm here to just play music that I like to play. Talk to awesome bands that want to come on and talk to me and talk about their shit. And that gives me more awesome music that I didn't know existed because I love rock and roll. I love metal. I love hardcore punk. I love the hard music community. Um, or as the normies call the scary music. I love this stuff. I really do. Ever since my dad showed me, Iron Maiden for the first time, I knew that like, what? This is it. This is the end of me fitting in with the rest of my peers on as far as music goes. Uh but
I hear you.
yeah,
You mentioned Black Sabbath in the beginning. That was a game changer for me. That
ah,
was probably one of the first bands that hard rock bands that I really got into. I think it was actually like the first concert I ever went to too was Black Sabbath, and I find I get a lot of influence from Black Sabbath in all my music as well. I believe.
right. Like a big thing that I keep stressing about here on my show, like you said, it's funny you said somebody will pay a download and the artist gets a penny. I want to be like, unless you're on Spotify, you have to have somebody listen to the song 1,000 times and then you get 0.0001% of a penny. Uh it's and I'm not lying. I sat here one night and literally did the math on one of my shows. I was like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh but no, it's scary, man. It's really scary for like artists these days, and especially me when I just sit here and think about it sometimes. It's like I'm so defensive about this genre of music and about these guys, like people I don't even fucking know. Like I'm like, you know, I want you, I want every other band that I've come in contact with. I want you all to succeed. But I want you guys to, I know not everybody can, but I want everybody to have a fair shot at succeeding. You know, I don't want it to be this impossible obstacle that everybody has to climb, that you have to pay somebody to get a shot, you know, pretty much buy a lottery ticket. And, you know, yeah, your music may or may not get on, but hey, thanks for the 500 bucks. Uh that's uh that's my big thing. That's what this is all about. Like I'm going to sit here until, you know, either, you know, the sky opens up and the second coming happens, or like, you know, I run out of money and they shut me down, or the FCC you know, conquers the internet and says that, hey, you can't do this anymore. Um, I'm going to sit here and try to defend the underground as much as I can, because that's where the next generation is. And the fact that the modern music scene is so hostile towards it is it's weird. It doesn't make any sense to me, you know? It's like, don't you want there to be, you know, the next generation? Don't you want this progress to keep going? Like, don't you want there to be, you know, more of this? And that's, I don't know. I think a lot of these guys cashed out. They sold out to labels. Labels all control everything these days, and the labels like the status quo. That's how they get paid, and it's tough, man. Until real change happens, this is how it is. But Steve, I like what you guys are doing. I love your music. You guys always got a home here on Metal for the Masses. You know,
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
I'm not a preacher pastor, you know, JC, but like, you know, I know I go by JC. I'm not Jesus Christ, but we love that kind of music.
Or the other JC.
I'm the other one. But yeah, it's I can't wait for 37 Miracles to come out. Can't wait to spin it here on the show. This interview's going up Saturday, May 3rd at
Awesome.
9 o'clock Eastern on YouTube.
Fantastic. Awesome.
So people will be able to see that, and then all that, you know, 24/7, all throughout the week. If you're tuned into Metal for the Masses, you got a chance, you got a shot to hear 37 Miracles. You know, it'll be in the
Awesome.
rotation. But
Appreciate that, man.
other than that, man, you know, is there anything else that you want to tell the people?
Oh, not really, man. Just, you know, if you're familiar with the band, as you mentioned, you know, we have a new vocalist, this guy named Carlos Zima, and he's got a great voice, man. It's a lot different from the other stuff. You know, Brian didn't have like a major rock voice, so now we have this killer metal vocalist, man. And I think it really enhances our sound. It makes it a lot heavier as well. So all the tracks that are forthcoming as well on the EP are also going to um, further validate that statement as well. So yeah, so hopefully we got some new fans out there. Please check our music out. Again, if you're not really religious, it's okay. You know, just dig the music, dig the sound. You know, we just have some good positive messages that we convey in our music, and hopefully you'll dig the new sound.
Hell yeah. And you can follow these guys on Instagram over at the word 66, all one word and all spelled out, uh, over on Instagram. And I'm sure you guys got all the other information over there in your bios. People can find everything, and, you know, everything that you guys are on, everything you guys are about. You guys also have a website, I saw.
We do.
So yeah, they'll be able to find that as well. And
Yeah, the word 66.com. And in on Facebook, we are the word 66. Just for some reason, Instagram didn't have the 66 available, so we had to spell that out.
yeah, the word 66. So
66, yeah.
sit. I don't want to get it wrong. Is it 66 or is it 66? Let me tell you, hang on. Let me bring this up real fast. I don't want to confuse the people. Oh no. Yes, the word 66 on Instagram, all
On
spelled out.
Instagram, it's
Uh,
6D6. Yeah, but like Facebook, we're just the word six
yeah,
six. Twitter, I think we're
yeah,
also the word 66, I believe, as well.
gotcha. All right, man. Well, this was as always, man. This was awesome. Always a good time chatting it up with you. I can't wait to hear the whole CD when it comes out, man. It's gonna be awesome.
It's going to be pretty cool, man. We're very excited about it. Thank you so much for having me on, John. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Hell yeah, brother. Until then, till our next meeting, keep rocking on, brother.
Take care, brother. God bless.